Alright, hello, citizens of the Nightiverse. It is Nigel here once again, and we've got another tier list. So, this time, we have got the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, the Ocho, Le Champion, the Lionheart himself, of Y2J, Chris Jericho. Probably one of my favorite wrestlers, the GOAT. The GOAT for sure, or one of the best in the business. It's hard to believe he's still wrestling after all this time. It's crazy, and he's still really fluid in the ring. But Chris Jericho's had a lot of attires, and one of the things I love about Chris Jericho is he's reinvented himself so many times. It's incredible. You're gonna see quite a few gimmicks, quite a few looks here in this tier list, but Chris Jericho, the master of reinvention, the master of getting stuff over. But nevertheless, we've got our attires here. We've got quite a few of them, and then we've also got our tiers down here. So, for our tiers in Y2J tier, and actually, I think I'll just do this real quick. Just move this down a little bit, just to have all our move down a little more, yeah. So we have all our tiers in the right spot. Or it's here in a different spot as opposed to our tires. But for our tiers, we've got Y2J tier, which is our S tier, which is like really good, fantastic attire, awesome attire. In A tier, is gonna be like our not quite enough to be Y2J tier. It's not quite that good, but it's still a really solid gear. It's still a great gear, just not enough for this one. For B tier, it's kind of a middle ground, not great, not horrible, but still really good. C tier is like, and it's like one or two things keeping it from the bottom of the barrel, and the bottom of the barrel is made the list. It made the list because it's bad. It's crazy to think Chris Jericho, only Chris Jericho could get over something like that, the list of Jericho. Like it's essentially a clipboard and paper, but Jericho got it over, and it got over in a big way. Now, I'm not going to say he's the only one who could get something like that over. I can think of a few other superstars who probably could have, but I don't know if there's anyone who could have gotten it over as much as he could have. Or as much as he did, because the list of Jericho, like the whole thing with like the list of Jericho and like Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, that whole thing literally carried Raw in like 2016, because without them, Raw at the time was ugh. But anyway, let's get right into our attire. So first things first, we've got the Lionheart gear. I believe the earliest Chris Jericho gimmick and everything, and not gonna lie, it looks pretty good. He's got the elbow pad and stuff there. I believe this is an ECW. Yeah, it's the ECW because there's Taz right there laying on the ground, and then he's got the black and the yellow pants. I know previously the in like our other tier lists like Batman and Robin and stuff, we've had C tiers for the debuts, which if you haven't already, go check out that review. But I think this first one I am going to put in B tier actually. Don't put it in B or A. No, I think I'll stick with B. The Lionheart gear is actually really good in my opinion. I really like it. Also, let me know in the comments below, who do you guys want to see me do tier lists for next. But next up is his WWF debut. That iconic debut, the Millennium Clock counting down to 0. Chris Jericho standing there. The words Jericho flash up on Titantron, the huge pop that it got. Chris Jericho saying, "Welcome to Raw is Jericho." And then spinning around, that hair, or that coat right there, the pants, and it's, wow, what a moment. Now, we have to be fair and judge just the gear, not like the moment itself, because the moment along with the gear would definitely put it in Y2J, but the gear itself is actually pretty good. He's got like the sparkly like jacket and everything, and just like the solid black pants, and it's iconic for that moment. But as a gear itself, it's still really good. So I think I'll put it in B as well. I think it's a really cool, interesting look for Jericho, and you would just continue to evolve from there. Next up is SummerSlam 2000, and shout out to the epic match he would have with Chris Benoit, which sadly can't be really glorified too much, knowing what Chris Benoit has done and everything. But the gear itself is really really good. Like the purple and the black here with the black knee pads and the boots. The black knee pads and the boots is something he would wear a lot with his gears. But and I think it has the Jericho lettering on the side as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the purple with the black, I think looks good for the most part. So I think SummerSlam 2000 we're also gonna put in B, and I do kind of feel like quite a few gears are gonna land in there. The thing about Chris Jericho is he's had a lot of gears over the years. There's some great, some not as great, but then some in the middle. WrestleMania 17. I like this one for the most part. It's got the really cool, interesting design right there. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be, but then again, maybe I'm just kind of slow. But it's still really really cool, and I like the black and the gold and everything. So I think WrestleMania 17 I'll also put in B. Yeah, there's probably gonna be a lot of B lists or B tiers, I should say here. So WrestleMania 17. I think we'll go in B. Yeah, I'll leave it in B. Next up is Vengeance 2001. When Chris Jericho beat both The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night to win the WWF and the World Heavyweight Championships. He's only mentioned it about once or 1,000 times, but I definitely want to check out that match, or both matches. It's because both matches kind of flow together, but really cool whole historical significance. He was the first person to hold both titles. But as for the gear itself, it looks similar to this one, except a bit of a gap happened between there and a bit of a different design. I don't know if it works as much as this one, but I still really really like it. So it's also gonna go in. There's gonna be a lot of B tiers in here, and remember, B tier doesn't necessarily mean bad, but it doesn't necessarily mean great either. It's just really, really good and kind of just in the middle in terms of Chris Jericho attires. And we have a lot to go through here. Chris Jericho's had a lot of different looks, but WrestleMania X8 against Triple H, and who's that in the background? It's kind of hard to tell who that is in the background, but I want to like this gear, but I don't know if, like, I feel like the shade of green is throwing me off. It's more like an aqua green, as opposed to like the green that I prefer, which is more like a deeper green, almost like emerald or like forest green or something like that. So, but this is more like an aqua green. I think it looks okay as Chris Jericho's like booted in the face by Triple H, but I feel like that's kind of throwing me off a little bit. But it's okay, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in C. Honestly, I think the aqua green, I'm not really the biggest fan of. I'll admit. I feel like it's kind of throwing me off a little bit, but also keep in mind these are all my opinions. So if you disagree, that is totally fine. But yeah, I feel like the aqua green, like if it was like a deeper green, yeah, I think it would probably look a little bit better. But it is really throwing me off. But next up is SummerSlam 2002, and I really like this one. I like the black and the Jericho logo. They're standing like this, and then the blue and the gold. So I think it's really cool. I think I'll actually put it in A. I actually really like that one. So SummerSlam 2002. I am gonna put in A. It's really good. Next up is going to be, let's see here, Unforgiven 2002. He had two matches against Ric Flair. I want to go back and see what that rivalry was about. I'm guessing it may or may not have had something to do with Evolution, if they were even formed around this time. I'm not sure, but this one, I kind of like it for the most part. You can't really see it here, but it tries to mix red and maroon in a little bit, but it still looks pretty good for the most part. I do kind of like it for the most part, the maroon and red, which sometimes you're able to get away with. Um, but I think I'll also put it in B. Back to B tiers we go for this gear. Next up is going to be, let's see here, WrestleMania 19. Dig that. First of all, that epic match against Shawn Michaels. If you haven't already, definitely check out that match. I want to review it for the channel, but that is definitely a match you guys should check out if you are a big fan of wrestling. Kind of a dream match, in a way. Shawn Michaels, someone that Chris Jericho idolized growing up, and for Chris Jericho to face him was seemed to be really really cool. Like I talked about it recently on System Shock Radio, this most previous episode. If you haven't already, go check it out. Why I will never become a wrestler, which truthfully I don't want to say never. It could happen, but I don't think so. But like if I do become a wrestler and I'm able to stand across the ring from someone like Edge or like Rey Mysterio, my inner young kid would freak out a little bit, not gonna lie. But the gear itself is also really really cool. I like the jacket, the blue, the Jericho logo there, as it's kind of in like that wormhole. Oops, didn't want to do that, but it kind of like the wormhole with the gold and everything. Just a really really awesome iconic attire. So I think that one I'll put in. I think that one I'll also put in A. I don't know if I want to put it in Y2J, but it's a really really cool gear, and again a really awesome match. Although the match itself won't impact the gear. Next up is WrestleMania 20, and I don't know if I like it as much as this one. I do like the blue and everything, and the Jericho logo there, and the black, and the white, and the pink. I think it is a really cool choice, and I think it complements the blue really well. But I don't know if I like it as much as that one, but I do still really like it. So I think I'm gonna put it in B tier as well. Also, WrestleMania 20 is going in B tier. We haven't had any Y2J tiers, but we also haven't had any made the list tiers yet at either, which is interesting. Next up is SummerSlam 2004. Kind of similar to this one a little bit, except now that like spiral effect is more throughout, and it's purple this time with the blue. I don't know if it works as well. Usually blue and purple could go together, but I feel like this one kind of throws it off a little bit. But I do still like it for the most part, so I think I'll put it in B. So SummerSlam 2004, I am also gonna put in B as well. Next up is WrestleMania 21, and this is the Money in the Bank ladder match. Magenta this time around, and the blue and the pink. Interesting choice. I'll give it that, but I don't know if I'm really feeling it. I feel like the magenta is what's throwing me off a little bit. The blue and the pink, or maybe that's like purple. I feel like that's okay, but like the magenta, I feel like the magenta is throwing me off a little bit. I think. Yeah, I gotta go with C. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Jericho, but man, that magenta is magenta in there. I don't hate magenta as a color, but I feel like in terms of this gear, it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. And then next up is SummerSlam 2005 against John Cena. One of the last matches he would have in the company, if I'm not mistaken, before he got released. I believe he asked for his release, mostly so he could tour with his band Fozzy and stuff. But I really like this one. I like the black and the blue and the white going throughout. I think it's really really cool, and I feel like the black and the blue really complement each other. A bit of a lighter blue, but I think it works here. So I think I think I'll put this one in. Do I want to put it in A or B? I think I'll stick with B, but still really, really cool. Rumble. So SummerSlam 2005, I'll put in B, and that was last we saw Jericho for about 2 years before he came back to feud with Randy Orton, to save his Y2J and everything. And then he feuded with JBL, which culminated here in the Royal Rumble 2008. And I have a bit of a story relating to this that I may tell at some point, if I haven't already. I think I might have on a previous episode of System Shock Radio. I'm not entirely sure, but as for the gear itself, I feel like I like it. It's got a bit more like a maroon type red, but I think it works for the most part here. And I like the black, and I like the Save Us there, and then the stuff poking out I think is really, really cool. So I think that one I'll also put in B. So Royal Rumble 2008, I think I'll put in B. So next up is going to be WrestleMania 24. And I know you can't really see it, but it's got like the Save Us and then the Jericho pose on the sides. But I like the black and the red. A bit simplistic, but I think it works, and the jacket really helps tie it together as well. So I think WrestleMania 24 I'll also put in B. Really good looking attire, in my opinion. If I do say so myself. Next up is going to be the Save Us Y2J. Something about this attire I've always loved, like the gray lines and like the blue lettering and stuff, and the numbers and stuff looking like code. I feel like it's always been really cool. And shout out to this being the attire they chose for him in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. So I think that one I'll also put in A. Do I want to put in Y2J tier? No, I think I'll put in A. So Save Us Y2J. I think I'll put in A. So really cool attire, in my opinion. Next up is No Mercy 2008. Shout out to this epic match against Shawn Michaels, and this pretty cool gear as well. Chris Jericho switching to the trunks and everything. He's got the black and the purple. Well, I feel like this one works, and it looks really, really cool. Well, I like the black and the purple, and how it doesn't look as like flashy as some of the earlier tires. The tires went down a little bit in flashiness, but I think sometimes that works a little bit. So I think this one I'll put in B. So No Mercy 2008, I'll put in B. Really cool attire. Next up is going to be Survivor Series 2008, and interesting choice. We get like kind of the start of like the glitter / like silver stud effects throughout like parts of the year. As you can kind of see, it's a little hard to see, but I feel like this one is also really cool. Well, I really like this one, and the red, more like the maroon. I feel like was a choice, but the silver studs kind of help it out a little bit and help it balance a little bit, I feel like. So I think Survivor Series 2008 I'll also put in B. A lot of B tiers in this video. Next up is going to be Royal Rumble 2009. Now, when I originally found this image, it was like a lot of people and Chris Jericho was off in the corner, so what I did, I cropped it, blew it up so you can see the attire, and sadly you still can't see it a whole lot, but it's an all red attire, and it almost looks a little too simplistic. I feel like the simplicity this time around does kind of hurt it a little bit, but I still think it's like okay, but it's a little too simplistic. But I think I'll still put it in. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to put in C, but I think I'll put in B. A lot of B tiers for this video. But next up is WrestleMania 25. Similar to like the Survivor Series one, except this one's more like a gray one. I feel like the gray kind of works a little bit more her. And ironically, gray, which is like less color than this, makes stands out a little bit more, and it almost transitions into a bit of a green, so it's more like a charcoal gray. But I do still really like it for the most part. So WrestleMania 25, I think I'll also put in B. So WrestleMania 25, I will put in B. Next up is Survivor Series 2009, and kind of the base model for tires we get later on down the line, with like how it like spreads out a little bit. I forgot there was 2 triple threat matches for the world titles. Undertaker faced Big Show and Chris Jericho, who were tag team partners, and John Cena faced Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who were tag team partners. Which the one for John Cena, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H I reviewed on this channel, so if you haven't already, go check that out. But I feel like the design, I feel like was always kind of cool, but a bit as well. But I feel like the red, it doesn't really help its case. Do I want to put it in C? Yes, sadly I gotta put it in C. I feel like the red really doesn't work with that look and that structure of a tire. Sorry, but next up though is the Royal Rumble 2010. This is not from the Royal Rumble 2010, but this is the attire he wore, and the purple version of this one. The purple version I remember a lot more vividly, and I feel like the purple version works a lot more than the red. So I think this one I'll actually put in B. So Royal Rumble 2010. Shout out to Edge's return that night. It was a really, really awesome one. But next up is going to be WrestleMania 26. WrestleMania 26. I want to like it. I really, really want to like it. But I don't know if I can. Like, it's definitely a different design from like this, but I feel like it looks really weird. Like, I don't know if I'm feeling it. So I think this one, and like some of the designs do look a bit interesting, but I feel like I don't know how to feel about it. It's a little weird for me. I think I'm probably gonna have to put this in C as well. So WrestleMania 26. I don't want to put it in like the bottom of the barrel, but I don't know if I'm feeling it. I'm sorry. WrestleMania 28 though, I really, really like this one. I like the red lettering and how it goes down the ear, and then the red stripes as well. The studs make it look a lot more bombastic, and the light up jacket as well makes it look really cool. So I think that one, you know what, I might even put that in A. I don't want to put it in Y2J tier, but yeah, it looks really, really good in my opinion. I really, really like it. It looks really cool. But next up is SummerSlam 2012. I really like this one with the red and the gold lettering of Y2J and how it looks there in the black. I think it looks really, really cool. So I might do. Is this our first Y2J tier? Nah, I don't think so, but it does look really, really cool. So I will at least put it in A. So, SummerSlam 2012. Why was I putting WrestleMania? It looks really, really cool. And shout out to also at WrestleMania anyway, that awesome match against CM Punk. And I think the match was Dolph Ziggler that year. If I remember correctly, that was a really good match, I think. But WrestleMania 29. First of all, crazy to think that he lost to Fandango that year. Like, I remember that year, like, they definitely wanted to push Fandango. But this year, I do like the purple and the blue. I feel like those usually work well, but I feel like this gray is what's throwing it off a little bit, unfortunately. So, sadly, I gotta put it in C. I don't know if I'm feeling it. Again, these are my opinions, so if you disagree, totally fine. But I don't know if I'm feeling it. Next up is WrestleMania 32 against the phenomenal AJ Styles. Yeah, we jumped ahead really, really far. He wasn't at 30 or 31, but I feel like the blue and the red and the white works really, really well together, and makes for a really cool attire. I also really like AJ's attire, but for now we're focusing on Chris Jericho. But like the blue, the red, the white. I feel like it works really, really well. I believe it's a Dallas inspired attire, because WrestleMania was in Dallas, Texas that year. So it's definitely probably something Dallas related, but I really, really like it. I think, uh, yeah, I'll put it in A. I don't know if I want to put it in Y2J tier, but so WrestleMania 32, really, really good attire, in my opinion. Next up is the list of Jericho. You gotta put in A tier. It wasn't like wrestling gear per se, although obviously he wrestled around this time, but more so the suits and those scars, which apparently Vince McMahon hated. But yeah, Chris Jericho always dressed to kill, and always looked so like pompous and everything, but also really, really cool. And again, crazy thing Chris Jericho was able to get this over. So the list of Jericho is definitely going in A tier. The gift of Jericho. Drink it in, man. WrestleMania 33. Kind of similar to this one, except now with like purple and red and in gold this time around. Don't know if I like it as much as this one, but I do still think it's pretty good for the most part. So I think this will also go in B tier as well. Now we move on to Double or Nothing 2019. Now we're in the AEW attires. This attire honestly looks really, really cool. I like the jacket, the hat, the scarf, the pants, the boots. It looks really, really solid. You know what? I think this might be our first Y2J tier. You know what? Yeah. This I think this is gonna be our first Y2J tier. Yeah, it's a really cool attire in my opinion. I really, really like it. Something about it I really, really like. Also, props to Chris Jericho for all he's done in AEW, who especially with the CM Punk stuff happening. And also shout out to the Elite who just returned at Full Gear, and shout out to MJF who won the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. Definitely a long time coming. Definitely long overdue. But next up is Revolution 2020. This one's also really cool, especially with the spiked jacket and the red at the bottom, and the pants with the gold looks really, really cool. I don't know if I like it as much as this one, but I think it is still really cool. So Revolution 2020 is at least going in A tier. Next up is Painmaker. Just one of the many Painmaker gears Chris Jericho's had, and it looks really sick with the hat, the face paint, the spike jacket, the scarf, and it looks similar to how he does here. So I think this is supposed to be Painmaker as well, but the Painmaker stuff always looks really cool. So I also got to put this in Y2J tier as well. Next up is Lionheart AEW edition. Pretty similar to his original gear. Here he's even had the pants from the original gear, but now with a much older Jericho. Oh, and I think the gear still looks really, really cool, even in the modern day. How he's still the Lionheart at heart, I think, is really, really cool. So I think that one I'll also put in B. So Lionheart in AEW, who is also gonna be B. It's crazy how he has different personas, like the regular Jericho, like Le Champion and stuff like that. Then he's got Painmaker. Then he's got the Lionheart. It's crazy, but finally we got it's arguably his most recent gear. That's Full Gear 2022. Except I know he's worn this more than once. it looks pretty basic except for the Jericho Appreciation Society logo there. That's the only thing saving it. It does look pretty plain for the most part, other than the logo. So sadly, yeah, I think. Do I want to do C or do I want to do make the list? I want to do a make the list just for the sake of saying, oh, we have one made the list, but I think uh, only because it is kind of lazy, unfortunately. But yeah, so that is our attires. So to recap, uh, our tiers for Y2J, we've got Double or Nothing 2019 and the Painmaker. In A tier, we have SummerSlam 2002, WrestleMania 19, Save Us Y2J, WrestleMania 28, SummerSlam 2012, WrestleMania 32, The List of Jericho, and Revolution 2020. In B tier, we have Lionheart, the debut, SummerSlam 2000, WrestleMania 17, Vengeance 2001, Unforgiven 2002, WrestleMania 20, SummerSlam 2004, SummerSlam 2005, Royal Rumble 2008, WrestleMania 34, WrestleMania 24, I should say, No Mercy 2008, Survivor Series 2008, Royal Rumble 2009, WrestleMania 25, Royal Rumble 2010, WrestleMania 33, and Lionheart AEW edition. And in C tier, we have WrestleMania X8, aka WrestleMania 18, WrestleMania 21, Survivor Series 2009, WrestleMania 26, WrestleMania 29, Full Gear 2022. And our made the list tier, the bottom tier, is empty, truly showing Chris Jericho has never really had a bad attire. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this tier list, so thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite and least favorite Chris Jericho gears, and I will see you guys later. Peace.